I'm even thinking about even my life, the moments where I don't want to take a risk, and I do. I'm actually always rewarded on the other side.
You need to change. If you want something different with your life, you need to change what you're doing. So,
But then to get to a place of where you're like, hey, I'm actually going to determine what I do. Welcome to Full Vantage Podcast. We have the THE, Donnie Diaz, LA, here with us today. I've been looking forward to this conversation because it's been 15 plus years in the making.
yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been
Since high school.
Woo, since you were a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
Do you remember you when you were a sophomore?
Barely. I try to forget.
Same. I try to forget. We're going to be talking all things fashion, maybe a little church, maybe a little music, a lot of LA, just everything that's been going on in your life, specifically, though, around the really cool brand that has been kind of launched from your mind, from your heart. You're wearing some unreleased pants that I was trying to purchase off you in the elevator on the way up earlier.
Yep.
Classic. Hey, where do I get those pants that you're wearing? You know,
You can't.
Not yet. Not yet. We'll trade maybe. I got a few pairs we could.
Do a jersey swap.
Maybe yeah, jersey swap. Will you sign it? I'll sign mine. But the inside pocket I'll sign so it doesn't make it weird. But gosh, that is really loud. It's like
Welcome to LA.
Yeah,
There's
classic.
A lot of that.
just all the time,
Sirens.
just
All day.
all night.
All day.
Oh man. Well, we're sitting in a really cool. I don't know if this is a Airbnb, apartment, hotel space, but it's pretty sick. And we're gonna be talking, just all things you, Don. So you moved to LA 8 years ago, 6 years
almost.
ago, 8.
8 in.
Yeah, that's right.
In May. So
8 in May. And
months.
did you move here to start a fashion brand?
I did not. No, that was the furthest thing why I moved out here. Didn't even honestly, because now I'm in fashion, but that I grew up in Florida, so that wasn't even like on my radar. I moved here for strength and conditioning I went to school for exercise science. So
I love this. Keep going. This is perfect.
yeah.
So exercise science, you moved to LA. Great.
Yes, I moved to LA. I went to college, grew up in Florida, went to college in Florida also. Knew I was over Florida, always didn't even have a exact reason why, but just always felt called to LA. And then I had to get an internship in order to graduate. So I kind of used that as my ticket out. So I only looked at internships in LA. And then, so finally got an internship, did that. And then so did the internship. Even when I moved out here, it was just for the summer, a summer internship. I didn't even know if I was going to stay in LA afterwards or maybe I'll move back to Florida, but I was just like, let me at least get to LA and then we'll see what happens. Then I got plugged into Mosaic, and that was honestly a huge reason why I stayed. Because, I was on that fence, internship's almost over. What am I doing here? Do I go back, try to find a job, or, move with family, play the safe route, or do I just kind of step into the unknown and just stay out here? So Mosaic was definitely a big reason why I stayed. And then I found my wife out here, so kind of worked out.
You kept getting more reasons to stay.
Exactly.
Is what I hear. I love that. We need you getting more reasons to stay.
Yes.
I don't think people have enough reasons to stay or leave in general, but dude, okay, so what makes somebody why did you feel like you had to leave Florida? Curious.
I just did my time. I was there. I mean, we bounced around a lot growing up, but mainly I was there I was there in preschool, then we moved to Texas, and then back to Florida. But I basically like to say I was there from 3rd grade to when I was graduated college at 24. So a while. I was there for
over a decade.
Most of over almost 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
Who's counting? But
Yeah.
along enough. I knew I needed something different. I don't know exactly what it was, but I just knew that wasn't what it was for me, what I wanted for my life, and just needed a change of pace, change of scenery. So for some reason, yeah, LA. I was like, oh, LA looks cool. Let me try to get over there. It was literally like I had no reason for LA, but I just like, oh, seems pretty cool. I want to like check it out.
Was there anything about, surrounding yourself with a certain type of person or getting into a relevant city or like was there anything more nuanced in that, or it was just in general?
I think it was subconscious.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause like, yeah, growing up, I always felt like I didn't really fit in. And then, yeah, like going to somewhere like LA where it's just, more creative, more energy and high energy. Like people always, even when you don't do anything, you just feel like, wow, today was a busy day. It just like feels, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it definitely felt subconscious, like Florida's too slow. I need to do something. Like I can't just like I would just sit at home bored all day and like I gotta go do something.
Okay,
with myself.
so you were around the retirement community too much. Is what I see. You were trying to move away from where everyone that's maybe at the end of their life was moving to.
Yes, exactly.
I got you.
I had to move to life. I guess.
Well, so how would you encourage somebody that is stuck then? Would you say that the environment is really important? That people do matter, even if it's not something that, like, what would you say to that person that's feels like they're 24, and they're you? What would you say to them about not necessarily coming to LA, but what would you say to them?
I would say, yeah, if especially if it's a situation like mine that you kind of have been there your whole life and you're just kind of going through the motions, like you need to change. If you want something different with your life, you need to change what you're doing. So I would definitely like suggest, just especially while you're young and before you have kids and stuff like that, like move, get out there, go, like the world's a cool, fun place. And I mean, at least take the risk, and if you fail, then that's fine. You'll at least know, like, okay, that wasn't for me, rather than sitting at home like, oh, what if? I guess that's what I would say is, like, just take the risk, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, it does make sense. I'm thinking about all the people that don't take risks. I'm even thinking about even my life, the moments where I don't want to take a risk, and I do. I'm actually always rewarded on the other side. Maybe not with the outcome that I wanted, but I'm rewarded with a way to not make the outcome that I wanted.
Yes.
I'm rewarded with knowledge, understanding. I'm rewarded with learning. And it's almost as if the more risks we take, not the bigger risks, but the more measured risk. I think that's a cool thing to begin to actually think about.
A calculated risk.
Calculated, because you were calculating the risk.
Yes.
Before you, gosh, that's a big bite. That guy just drove by the window. You were calculating the risk before you took it.
Yes.
You're saying, I don't have a lot of pressure, except it's on me.
Yeah.
I don't have kids. I'm not in a space where I'm not married. I don't have to. I only have to.
For me, it was like the internship. So it was
Come
like, okay, I'm just going to go out here for this summer internship. We'll see what happens. If it leads to more, awesome. If not, I have a family back home in Florida waiting for me who will gladly accept me with open arms and Dominican food. So I'm winning regardless, but
you are. You're totally winning. And that's healthy in a quality family, but also in the middle of that, man, you gave yourself a window. I'm going to give myself the summer. I don't think people give themselves a window of opportunity like that. So like, what do you say to somebody if you go back? Would you change it? Anything you did?
Definitely, like, looking back on my life, like,
Does it feel weird to say looking back on my life?
yes, it does. Yes.
When you said it, I kind of rejected it because I'm like, don't say it like that. I'm just kidding. Not mad. I'm just saying there's a lot ahead of us.
It's weird to me
Yeah.
that college was 10 years ago. Like, that's insane. So, like, looking back just to, like, where I was at in college and just, like, everything that's happened up until right now, it's like I can see, like, oh, if I wasn't here, if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't be here, kind of thing. Now, to me having a almost 3-year-old daughter, it's like, if I didn't move to LA, that wouldn't happen, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Among other things.
Your wife,
Yeah.
your daughter, your family, your current situation, your friends,
Yeah.
the passion that's pouring out through your life for God and community and
Yeah.
art and creativity, because you're probably the furthest from, was it kinesiology?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're probably the furthest from kinesiology you ever thought you'd be.
Absolutely. Yes.
So you take the risk to get in a different space. You give yourself a window of opportunity. You find a place that you'd like to plant your life.
Mm-hmm.
How does one make the jump from kinesiology to Dad, Donnie Diaz? Donnie Alejandro.
Yes.
Diaz.
Daniel Alejandro. If
Sorry.
you want to get
Yeah.
technical.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too technical.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't have to do that. But yeah. Wait. What was the
What
question?
were we even saying? I'm saying, okay, kinesiology.
Yeah.
You make that jump.
Yeah.
When did you make that, and how did you make that decision to get out of kinesiology and into fashion?
Okay. So, yeah, kinesiology or like exercise science, I kind of did that mainly because I didn't fully know what I wanted, but I grew up playing sports, loved sports and working out and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, I at least like that. So let me like try to get into like strength and conditioning, maybe work with some sports teams, or I don't know, just anything kind of cool. That was the only thing that I could really come up with. And then doing that internship out here and then getting plugged into a church, I read a book from Pastor Erwin McManus, and his book is The Artisan Soul, which that book really changed my life and my perspective of myself, because I would have never called myself a creative or even an artist, where in the book it's like he's basically saying, if you were to walk up to some random person like, hey, are you an artist? You'd be like, oh, no, I don't paint. I can't draw. Like, I'm not an artist. But, like, obviously there's way more, like, ways to be an artist than just painting, all these different avenues to do that. And then he goes into saying, like, we're all created in the image of God, and God clearly is creative because he literally created everything.
Yeah, it's the first sentence in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the beginning, God created.
Yeah, so therefore, if we're all created in the image of him, then we are creative. And so that was the first time I've ever like, oh, wow, like, I guess I am creative and I need to be doing something more creative with my life. And then, yeah, being in LA, like, there's just so much random opportunity I would have never even thought about, especially living in Florida or growing up in Florida. No knock to Florida, but yeah, just like there's so much stuff out here that, I mean, I always liked fashion, so it's like, okay, maybe I could like look into that. So then just kind of got going. Like, I started doing internships through different clothing brands or whatever, just trying to really like learn as much as possible, because yeah, like I was stepping into something completely different than what I was actually doing. So yeah, just doing like random sewing lessons or even taking pattern making classes and just really learning the kind of foundation. Not that I'm trying to become like an expert sewer or anything anything, but just like at least have a base understanding of like how things are made, construction, like garment construction, all that kind of stuff. To then, just like learning the whole ins and outs of the fashion industry here in LA, because I make all my stuff here in LA. So it was just really taking the time to learn and like gain experience as much as possible. And then because that was 2019 was when I kind of made that shift over. And then obviously the very next year, the pandemic happened, and that caused everything to shut down. And I always knew I wanted to start my own thing, but in the pandemic, it was like, well, I have nothing else to do. So it just kind of hit fast forward. So I was like, I guess I'm going to like start making my own stuff now. And then, 4 years later, here.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so you took a huge turn. What would you label that switch that flipped? What was that switch that's like, okay, I'm reading this book, I'm going this direction, boom, done. Going that direction now. I am all in on fashion. You know, you said there was a learning phase, but what made you even want to go the learning route?
Because I knew nothing. So like if I wanted to get into it, I really had to like, okay, well, how do I do this? If I want to make something, like, how do I even make it?
So, but what you're saying is different than what most people are doing or have done from my point of view.
As in what?
Exactly. So you're trying to make pieces.
Yes.
Put fabric together.
Yes.
And actually make specific types of clothing.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like you're not just trying to have a brand that you put a label on.
Yes.
You're trying to make true custom fitted
like
valuable pieces.
Yes. So so a lot of those like I did, I guess technically 2 different internships with like clothing brands. So through that I was able to like just make a lot of connections, meeting sewers, cutters, fabric vendors, just all that kind of stuff, and really like taking the time to build those connections. I guess that was the first tactical step, is just like making connections, putting yourself out there and meeting people, and then deciding to figure out how to source these things, source fabrics, and meeting pattern makers to then make your patterns, to then having to get it cut and sewn. And
I love it.
It's yeah.
No. It's a whole process. But I don't think a ton of people. I'm really inspired by the process every time I like begin to think about it or look into it or even just talk to you, because a lot of people are like, oh man, I want to have a. You hear people talk about, oh, I'd love to have my own brand.
Yeah.
What does that mean? You know, like, what are you even trying to say? Are you trying to say that you'd like to use a large big box blank and then put, your logo on it?
Yeah.
Well, that's different than what you're trying to do.
Yes.
And so I love what you're trying to do, because you're taking it from nothing and actually creating the piece.
Yeah.
What would you say your style is? Well, how would you define the Donnie Diaz?
It's to me, it's LA. It's like, I don't know, kind of vintage inspired, but like with elements of elevated luxury, I guess. I definitely.
It's a little Japanese too.
Yeah, a little bit.
In some ways, like kind of like Japanese streetwear, kind of.
Yeah. It depends on the mood too. Like, 'cause I wear a lot of sporty things, so.
Oh sure.
I'll make a bunch of like basketball shorts and just a boxy T-shirt or something, or I'll make these pants, jackets. It depends on like. So I have a wide range of things that I make, just because.
That's your hat too, isn't it?
Yes, this is my hat.
Okay, so he has his own hat. He has his own shirt and his own.
My own
pants.
shirt with my wife's cake cake company on it. Cakes by Chas. Shout out.
If you need a cake,
Yes.
we know where you can go.
Yes, that's the one. But yeah, I
That's-
basically wear.
Is that your jewelry too?
No, this is from Etsy.
Ooh.
Shout out Etsy. I technically did make this one though, but it was more of like one of those.
Oh yeah, piece it together. Thanks.
Yeah, it was a charm place.
Oh
and then you
yeah,
just like pick
right,
your
right,
charms
right,
and then you put it together.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Was that like a date night? That
It
you
was
and
like
Chas-
it wasn't a date night, but it was like a fun little activity for
Okay.
sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I love
Yeah.
that. If somebody's wanting to, they're in a place in America. Let's say this. Let's play a game. They're a place in America. They want to get to where you are because your clothing is now in a store in your favorite mall in
Yes,
LA.
Yes.
All right. Super cool. How would you help them expedite the process that you kind of? I wouldn't say it's the cleanest route
Okay.
that you've taken.
Yeah.
Meaning like you've
Yeah.
been figuring, you didn't know necessarily always the next step.
Yeah, totally.
So like how would you maybe reverse engineer it for somebody to say like, hey, if you're serious about creating pieces of art that
Yeah.
people wear.
I would say, and that's kind of the whole reason why my brand is just my name, Donnie Diaz, LA. It's just stuff I was making for myself. Just 'cause I think you should just always, like, I don't know. For me, it was just like, I want these things. I can't find it exactly how I want it to fit on me. So it's like, okay, I guess I just have to make it myself. And then, you wear it out, people start complimenting you, then it's like, okay, well, if people like it, then there's probably a need out there in the market for it. So I guess I would say just do what you want to make. Don't make anything for anyone else. Like, just, yeah.
Hey, that's a word. I think that's a bar
That's a bar.
that anyone's trying to do anything with their life. I think we're creative because we create the future.
Exactly.
Okay, so you can either do it haphazardly, you can either have it happen to you, or you can be super active in it and create a life that you really are inspired by and that you value and it's worth living. Okay, so if that's true, then what you say is how I can make sure that what I'm doing right now is worth me doing.
Yeah.
Because
You just want to be authentic.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, be overtly authentic.
Yeah.
Be overtly authentic, and then from there you can find out, oh, this is why I am this way,
Yeah.
or this is why I like this. And guess what? If you make it for you, you can't go wrong.
Exactly.
If you like it and no one else does, well, it was still worth it.
Totally.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier before we turned the podcast and we started recording, and you were like, hey, why'd you start the podcast? And I was like, honestly, I'm just putting a mic up to the conversation that I already want to have.
Yeah, totally.
I'm already coming through LA, and I hit you up, and I'm like, I'm just wanting to talk to Donnie no matter what and hang out with you. So there's not a better opportunity than for us to throw a mic and a camera on
Yeah.
and highlight what you're doing, and maybe share it with somebody else, and maybe it can inspire one person. But guess what? It doesn't matter if it inspires them because I'm already inspired.
Yeah.
I'm already gonna want to check out like what you're doing and be a part of it as best I can and encourage you in it. So it's like, oh man, great.
Yeah.
I did it because I feel like I really want to,
Absolutely.
and I'm creating it maybe even for me first.
Yeah.
And that's actually not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad because if it fits a void that you may have, then guess what? It could fit a void that someone else may have.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so if you could break it down in like bite-sized steps for someone. Boom. It's from ground zero. My buddy Jeremy, right? He's wanting to start a fashion brand
Yeah.
from scratch. Doesn't
Yeah.
know where to go. He's got all the zeal in the world. Not all the money in the world, but
Yeah.
all the zeal. Dude's full of passion. Excited about it. Where does he start?
I mean,
How does he get in a store?
How does he get in the store? I mean, he's gonna have to make things consistently, or at least enough things to be able to put in a store. But yeah, that just comes with time and putting yourself out there and creating things.
How many things? Guess. Give it an estimate. Like if you want to be an expert that's worth actually selling in a store, how many pieces does somebody you think need to make? How many do you think you've made?
I've made a lot.
What's a lot?
Hundreds, like not hundreds, but like definitely 100 different, probably like
Okay.
just random sample. I mean, well, yeah, that's just talking random samples.
Yeah.
But like I've done like, so that was, I guess, part of my journey to the past, because I officially launched almost 4 years ago. I was doing a lot of smaller drops, just like, oh, let me like release some t-shirts and some shorts here.
Oh, I was in Nashville.
Okay.
Okay. And mutual friend of ours.
TJ?
Who was it? I think it was TJ. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody was wearing one of your pieces, and I was like, who made that? And he said Donnie. I said, no way.
TJ, he has a lot of 101s for sure. He's got
Did you give all of your samples?
a lot of things that were like, oh, this is a little too small on me. I was just like, here, have my little hand-me-downs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
That's so funny. Okay, so I see TJ. He's wearing, I think, one of your sweatshirts.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, this is cool. And he's like, oh, Donnie. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
No way. Okay, so how many? I really want you to say a number because people love that. I think that's really valuable. Okay.
I don't know. I mean,
Because you have to make enough to get in a store, but then you have to
Yeah.
make enough samples to get good enough to be worth being in a store.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if honestly if there is like a number.
No.
'Cause,
I'm just curious as
I
what
mean, how
you would
many
say
things
for-
I've made? Yeah, probably like 100, maybe different variations of things, and
So you've
from
made 100
jackets
variations, but
to-
how many samples?
samples. Jeez. Like not including like actual production runs, also. Okay.
Oh, I mean, where you make the sample and then you get, I don't even.
Because
think
I'll make
people-
it, like I'll do
yeah.
a drop, like I'll do a small release where I'll make, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of one of the last things I did was I did a collab with another one of my friends, Johnny Matcha, shout out. He has one of my good friends in Florida. He has a matcha company, so.
Oh yeah.
And we're both of our brands, even though he's obviously in matcha and I'm in clothing, our like values are very similar, where he gets all his matcha in Japan and he does a trip to Japan, like, and he calls it like know the source. So it's like, this is the farmers we work with, blah, blah, blah. So we wanted to do a know the source collab of like, okay, this is the farmers he works with, but then this is where I get my fabric from, milled here in LA, like these are the sewers I use, kind of thing. So we did a little collab for that, where we did a small run of t-shirts, probably like 30 t-shirts. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, just like I'll do smaller releases where it's like, okay, let me just make 30 of these, give some out to people, and obviously try to sell some, but just like, and yeah, especially like when you're first starting out, it's more of you just need to make things, even if it's not necessarily to make money, make a profit off of it. It's just to like be consistent in your craft and in your commitments, and just creating things and putting it out there. Even if you don't sell it, just make things, take photos of it, post it on Instagram. Just building that consistency of creating things and not holding it to yourself, but putting it out there.
I love that. I think. So what I'm hearing you say is you may not make the concept is not make 100 of the same thing. The concept is learn the intricacies of making something.
Yes.
And then the more that you make something, you will get better at being able to build things.
Exactly.
Because you're really a builder of, you're really a clothing builder.
Yeah.
But people don't think about it like
Yeah,
that. But you're
totally.
really building it, putting
Yes.
it all together
Yeah.
and organizing it and working it through, which is really powerful.
Yeah.
What are your values?
My values
Yeah,
is
what are the brand values? Curious.
I do have some written down. I could probably wait.
You're good. You're good. Find them.
Let
See
me
if you
find
can.
these.
Pull those up. Also, one thing that everyone needs to realize is when you work with a creative, their notes section in
Oh.
their iPhone is stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
guilty.
It is. It is out of control. Their notes in their iPhone. Hey, Apple, one thing you could do better. You ready for it? Fix that problem. help the creative understand how to navigate their notes better in their iPhone.
Yes. uh,
You're good. That's really loud.
This is a random note I have from a few years ago. My core values are to get things done the right way with the highest quality possible. I don't know. My core values, I guess, for my brand is like obviously like making things ethically. Like I make everything here in LA, so just kind of being able to know where everything is being made, having connections, building connections with all my sewers, and just like trying to make I make obviously nothing crazy like design wise, very simple, but just trying to elevate it with like silhouettes and just the actual quality of the fabrics and construction processes, and even like different, like I work with dye houses for custom washes, custom like vintage washes, or and all these like custom colors and stuff too. So just like really being able to fine tune every little step of the process.
I love that.
Yeah.
What does fine tuning mean to you? Why do you want to do that?
I think when you care about the little details, like that's really shows what you care about, what you really love. So for me, it's like sometimes I'll put on a shirt and I'm like, I just wish this was half an inch shorter or an inch shorter, you know, like I just want a certain fit. So it's like those small details where I make something and I'm like, oh yeah, this is too small. That's when I'll give it to give it to TJ or something like.
Yeah. Classic too small problem.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Yeah. I just think, those small details, like if things stick out to you, I guess that maybe that'll go to like if you're for someone who doesn't know what exactly they want to do or like know what they're good at, is like what are those things where like those small details really bother you. I don't know if that answers your question, but
No, it does. It does. Why is it important for a creative to have small details bother them?
because
What does that reveal? I think that it reveals something quite
yeah,
quite important.
I think it reveals it just reveals what you care about.
Come on. I think so too.
Yeah.
And if you don't care, guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to probably finish.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to actually be quality. It probably won't actually have any values.
Yeah.
It probably is actually not going to get finished. You're probably going to quit.
Yeah.
So the level of care reveals that you actually have passion toward the thing.
Yeah.
Your level of care, if you're going to actually complete it.
Yeah.
Have you haven't thought about it like that?
Not exactly, but yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
totally. I'm with you.
No, I see someone that cares, and I see someone in the middle of a process. Like, how big of a deal is it that you're in a store right now for you? What does that mean to you?
It's a cool experience. Like, yeah, especially like you said, it's my favorite mall in LA, so like to be in there is like a huge answered prayer. Yeah, it's like, I mean, we'll see how it goes and all that kind of stuff, but like I guess that's the other thing I've been learning too, is like not necessarily chasing or focusing too much on like goals rather than just like enjoying the process. So like just really being grateful and like, yeah, it's cool. Like, cause that's one of my go-to spots. Like with me and my family, just like, oh, we're bored. Let's go to the mall. Let's go to Century City, go walk around the mall. So to but now be like, oh wow, I have clothes in this mall is like kind of, it's cool. And it's something, yeah.
Did you ever think that in COVID that would happen?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You had a voice inflection.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I definitely.
I mean, it was a dream.
My dream is to be, like I would love to be in like stores all around the world. So I guess
So you got to start with one.
Yeah, you got to start with one, and to be in my favorite mall, like that was a cool first one to have, for sure. Like obviously I'd love to. One of my goals is to be in like Nordstrom's and stuff like that. So
Wow.
yeah. So I've always had like big dreams, I guess. But yeah, just trying to like really have the faith to really step into them.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think?
But then not focusing too hard on the goals, but like
Right.
just like,
Right.
yeah, it's finding that balance.
Don't exhaust yourself in the goals for sure.
Yeah, because once you get the goals, then it's like, oh, okay, I guess that's over now.
Yeah.
So you'll always just be chasing the next thing. Yeah.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. How do you manage that then? Because one of my questions I want to ask you is like, hey, where do you want this to go? And what are you excited about in the future?
Yeah.
But how do you manage right now, or how are you going to manage
Yeah.
those based off of where you are?
For me, it's like I'm trying to have my goals be not necessarily those like, oh, I want to get in this store, but I just want more opportunity and just more opportunity to be able to create things. So yeah, like to be in more stores, that means I get to make more clothes. So I guess my goals is just to like to be able to do something. Yeah. Maybe that's just like my ADHD or something. I just always have to be doing something, but just to have something to do is always like a good feeling, you know?
No, I agree. I think it's important to be able to say, hey, here's what I'm doing, as well as have other people maybe tell you what to do, which is fine.
Yeah.
Job, where you come through on a specific task or things. Those are great. But then to get to a place of where you're like, hey, I'm actually going to determine what I do.
Yeah.
What does an opportunity look like for you? How does somebody, wherever they're sitting, wherever they're listening to this, how does somebody identify an opportunity and choose to take it?
That's a tough one. That's a tough
But
question.
answer it based off of you, not for them.
Off of me, yeah.
What does an opportunity look like for you? Maybe like a collab with the Matcha,
To me, yeah, anything.
Johnny Matcha.
Johnny Matcha.
It's kind of a fun name.
It's a catchy name, right? I guess to me, it's like, obviously, I want to do what's in God's will for me. So it's like pursuing things that are of God and just anything that's good. God is good. So like any good opportunity, like I believe that God's in there. And I mean, maybe like sometimes it's not necessarily for me, but I'll at least try and test it to see if it's for me. Yeah, I don't know if I have like a solid answer.
I think
for
that's
that,
a really good answer.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't question that answer. The only thing for me is I think it's a good thing to keep answering. That may be that's a great answer for today. It may adjust, not because of your lack of faith or because of it changes from God's will, but it just may get more specific.
Totally.
Because I think the further we get down the road and maybe the closer we get to the dreams, the sharper the dream gets, the more we have to say no to versus yes to.
Yeah.
Right now, it may be your dreams may be so far in the future that it's really kind of difficult to say like, hey, well, in general, we're going the right direction if I keep this in line. So how can somebody be a Christian and be in fashion industry?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about that. That's you keep kind of coming back to it, and I love that. And that's I think I one of the things I love about you, is that you do that. Like you are somebody who's trying to live it,
Yeah.
not always talk it, and feel like you have to say everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna exhaust it by the way we live our lives, not just how we talk about our lives. So how does somebody be a follower of Jesus, a Christian, in the fashion industry? How are you doing it?
I mean, to me, I don't know. It's different just because, well, one, I don't have traditional, like, fashion training. Didn't go to fashion school. So I guess I don't know. Like, to me, it's easy just because it's just part of my life. It's what I do. I don't know.
But isn't that so important, though?
Yeah.
It's easy, and maybe it should be easy if it's real for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this is something that it's not just a tag on to your life. It is a way of life. It is your way of life.
Yeah. And it maybe, like, I guess I could see it being difficult, you know, if you have to go to all these events and things where I don't know if shady stuff is going down.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't really go out like that, so I don't know. Yeah, because you always hear, like, I don't know where I'm trying to take this.
No, it's okay. It's you. What's unique about what you're doing is you're charting your own course.
Yes.
You're not necessarily trying to ride, maybe the backs or the coattails of others that are in the industry or in the industry. You're just creating.
Yeah.
You're making.
I'm just making things that I like to make, and I hope other people like them too. But but mainly, yeah, just for myself and just to get things out. Yeah, because I was definitely in a era where the past probably like 2 years, just like trying to figure out what's next, and just really like trying to, I don't know, like, yeah, find out where I wanted to go and where I wanted to take this thing. 'Cause yeah, I was doing smaller releases, but then it's like, I don't know, maybe I should like focus more big picture and do like a full collection kind of thing. So that's kind of where I've been at now, is just like, yeah, sampling, making things just to like see what sticks, see what I like, see what I don't. Yeah.
Do you think people don't test enough? Like test the market, test how people. Is that because that's kind of what you're doing? Is A/B testing in a little bit of ways.
Yeah.
You may be doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G testing, but you
Yeah.
know you tested a lot of different stuff.
Yes.
And why don't I think people should do that more?
Yeah.
Let's just test a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
If we don't know what direction we want to go, guess what? If you don't know what direction you want to go, it's time for us to test a lot of different things in the different directions.
Yeah.
With a specific way. And how are you going to know that you've found it? That you found the direction you want to go?
I mean, the more things you make, the more options you have. Like, I mean, these pants, for instance, like I've made these pants like in so many different types of fabrics and colors. So it's like just making them and like, okay, actually I wear this one a lot, these nylon ones a lot. Or even, and then just changing up like, okay, like these fit good, but I want them to be a little bit shorter or something, like just like really fine tuning everything and making things to see what you like. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's really
And
good.
it always helps too for me, 'cause like I'll wear stuff all the time and it's cool, but then when you see other people wear it and you're like, oh wow, that looks way better on them than it does on me, then it's like, okay, I might be onto something there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thank you for making those pants for me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Sheesh, I love nylon, you know?
There we go.
I think nylon's important in LA,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
Donnie, it's so good to like sit down with you for a second, you know, texting long distance, talking long distance, whatever is great. And it's been great to catch up, but I'm excited to come to LA more.
Yes, please.
I'm excited to hang with you more. And we got a good weekend ahead of us, I think, man.
Absolutely.
And as we kind of wrap this up, how do people purchase Donnie Diaz LA or check out what you're doing?
I technically have a website, but it's kind of down right now because I was focusing more on this store launch. So I just kind of took everything off the website to mainly focus on that. So, I mean, you can go to the store Atlas at the Westfield Century City Mall here in LA. They have they focus on smaller brands, so they have a really cool, I think they have over 100 brands in there. So they have literally everything from candles to jewelry to obviously clothing to, I think they even had like yoga mats. They have like a little bit of everything. So that's where I'm at mainly right now. Yeah.
And then if they want to follow what you do in the future, it's just, is it DonnieDiaz.LA or something like that?
Donnie Diaz LA.
Okay.
Yeah, at Donnie Diaz LA, yeah.
Yeah.
On
Okay.
Instagram, yeah.
Sweet. Man, you're such a blessing.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Dude, thank you. Are you kidding me?
My gosh, thank you for your time. First podcast.
First podcast.
Crushed
Let's
it,
go.
dude.
Let's go.
Let's go. We get the first pod for the
Yeah.
future of fashion.
Wow.
Come on.
Wow.
Can I say that? That's so fun, dude. Oh, it's so fun. Man. All right. Guys, fashion conversation, full on, with Donnie Diaz. Thank you, man. And thank you guys for joining Full Vantage Podcast. Look, we're just learning out here in these streets. So stay learning. Ask the people around you the questions that you want to ask them. And what's cool about this conversation, if I would just even kind of break it down at the end, is Donnie didn't necessarily have, he's still in process. That's what I get to see. I get to see a man of God in process. And what's cool is we're all that way. And if we stay that way, then we stay useful, and maybe God wants to use us in the areas that we're passionate about. So stay connected to this man and get connected to those around you. So, again, Full Vantage Podcast. Share this with your favorite fashionista, your designer, whatever. So, see you guys.